All right, let's get this podcast started. So, welcome back, everybody, to That Blonde Girls podcast. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I've actually posted a podcast. The last couple of weeks have been incredibly hectic, and I actually recorded this podcast, but I felt like it didn't have the feel that I wanted it to have, and I don't know, it just didn't end up recording or come across the way I wanted it to. So here we are again. I feel like this one's gonna be better around this time. So here we are. I'm going live on YouTube here as well. So if there's any weird spots or random questions that end up popping up, or I ended up answering random questions, there will be a part of this too. So if I'm looking down, there's that. But yeah, basically I've been thinking about doing this podcast now for a couple of weeks, mostly because beauty and makeup and beauty products have so much to do with a part of our lives, whether it's our beauty routines, whether it's makeup, whether it's our hair, whether it's our nails, whatever it is, whatever falls under your category of your beauty routine, they play a big part of our lives, whether it's a positive influence or whether it's a negative influence. They all play, there's so many aspects of this beauty realm that apply to our lives. And I don't want to speak for anybody, so I'm really going to be speaking for myself as far as what I've gone through growing up, how I grew up, and the way my mother formed my perspective on beauty. And then as well, on top of that, I'm going to be showing you guys everything that I put on my face. I'm going to be showing you what I do for a full face of what I consider a full face of makeup. I'm not going to be doing my hair. I will talk a little bit about what I have done to my hair and maintenance and what I do with my hair in general. But I basically have my entire contents of my face. I'm just going to turn my camera over here. I have basically my entire contents of my face displayed here, and I kind of created this space. This is something I had dreamt of and wanted for a really long time, and now to finally have my ideal as ideal as I can get it right now, makeup space, it makes me really happy to have a place where I can sit in the morning, take some time to myself, and just spend time putting on some makeup. And that's a big part of it for me, is that it's not because I feel like I have to, and it's not because I feel like I need to anymore, like I have to or I need to anymore. It's really because I enjoy spending that time just getting to know my face, getting to know my skin, seeing how I'm growing, how I'm getting older, seeing how my face changes and how it's changed over the years. It's really fascinating to me to be able to experience that, and spending that time in the mornings or on the weekends, because to be quite honest, I don't wear that much makeup anymore to work, just because I don't have time in the mornings. I've just appreciated sleeping in more days now, more often than not. And I don't work in an environment where I have to wear makeup. I do like to wear it from time to time, but I also work a very active job where I'm sweating, I'm rubbing my face, so to have a full face of makeup is just unrealistic, and it takes way too long for me to do it in the mornings, and at this point in my life, I prefer sleeping in rather than waking up really early to do my full face of makeup. But for a really, really long time, I would wake up an hour before I had to leave my house to go to school to put on makeup and do my hair. It was crazy. I don't know how I did it or why I did it, but I used to do that. I would wake up really early and spend all that time doing my makeup. Over the years, makeup has changed. My perspective has changed on makeup. I think before I dive in doing my face and doing the contents and showing you guys the contents, I'm gonna tell you guys roughly what it costs, and I'm gonna I have the full list of what my face costs for me. Basically, I've written down every single product, so I will tell you the cost of every single thing that I have found or that I use, and I will tell you what it costs for me to put on a full face of makeup, because I think that's really fascinating and really interesting to actually see it down on paper, to see how much I spend regularly on my makeup. And it's also one of those weird things. I think a lot of women or men can relate to this. We don't tend to, or at least I don't tend to buy all my beauty supplies in one go. It's usually here and there I run out of things like here or there, or like I don't buy all my makeup in bulk. I mean, sometimes I do if I go to Walmart, but I still tend to like not run out of things at the same time. Hey guys, how's it going? I tend to not run out of my makeup all at once. So usually I end up buying things here or there. So you never really think about how expensive it's all going to be until you actually put it down on paper, which is kind of scary. But it's not, for me, it's not as scary as I thought it would be. I honest to God thought I actually spent a lot more than I do. I don't. So that's a good thing. But yeah, I think I'm going to start off with wiping my face down, because I think earlier today, I mean, I went to work looking like this. If any of you who are watching the video version of this on the YouTube channel, which is Reviews by the Blonde, that's where you can find me on YouTube, and the video to this podcast. This morning I chose not to wear any makeup, mostly just because I didn't feel like waking up early and putting on any makeup. And I didn't even really do anything to my hair this morning, to be completely honest. I found that over the years, especially last year, I finally came to terms with the fact that I really don't need to wear makeup during the summertime. It's like the second it gets hot in Toronto, it's like, it feels like right now I had to close my window because somebody in the neighborhood is blasting their music in their car. So I am quite warm right now in my room, and I haven't put the AC in just yet. So it's hella toasty. But I think funny story. I'm going to share a funny story from last summer that I had with my makeup that I think changed my perspective of makeup during the summertime. Now, I mean, I don't tend to wear, like, I won't wear makeup to the beach. I won't wear makeup when it's, basically, if it gets any hotter than 26 degrees, I tend to not wear makeup, mostly because it's gonna end up melting physically off my face. And the reason I know that is because last summer, there was a point in time where I decided I was going to run errands. So I put on a full face of makeup, and I rented a car that day. So I decided that I was going to, walk over to the car and go run around and do some errands. So I did a full face of makeup. It got so hot that before I got to the car, and it was like a 15-minute walk, before I got to the car, I decided I was going to stop by at a Tim Hortons to grab a cup of coffee. So I went in and I got a coffee, and I'm surprised that nobody looked at me like an absolute crazy person. Either my whole face hadn't melted off the way it had by the time I got to the car, or they were just being incredibly polite. So there's also that possibility. I remember getting to the car maybe 10 minutes later. I sat down and I looked in the mirror, and it literally looked like the layer of my skin just peeled off. It was crazy. I looked like a crazy person. It literally looked like the skin on my face was melting off my skull. It was so weird. It was so scary. And I'm just like, I am not going all the way home to like wipe everything off, clean my face off, and then go to the store. It looked so creepy. So I like cranked the AC on and hoped that, like, lightly patted down my foundation and hoped and prayed that all my makeup would actually stay in place. So my number one rule nowadays during the summertime is that I just don't wear makeup if it's more than 26 degrees. It's just unrealistic. It's just absolutely crazy to think that, like, your makeup is actually going to stay in place when it gets that hot. And it's a very scary sight once it starts melting. So I don't wear makeup. For the most part, I rarely wear makeup during the summertime now. I'll, like, fill in my eyebrows, but that's about it. That's as far as I go with makeup during the summertime, unless I'm going out and have to, like, I feel like I need to get all glam or, like, super beautified. So yeah, that's my rant about no makeup during the summertime or when it gets real hot, which this is going to be interesting because, again, it's getting really warm in my room right now, and I now am putting on a full face of makeup, so this should be really interesting. I do have a cup of water with me, trying to keep cool. But anyways, looking to my right to see all the beauty products that I put on my face, it looks like a lot. Like this, and I guess I should say this right off the bat. I should have said this right off, like at the very beginning. This is not sponsored. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. I spend all this money on my face. I spend all this money on my products that I put on my face or use on a regular basis, whatever that may be. Mostly because, again, I like to and I want to, and there are certain things that I like to do that, you know, just make me feel good and make me feel pretty at times. Not to say that right now with a bare face and without my hair being done I don't feel pretty, because I do. I don't have the insecurities that I used to with my makeup and with my face and with my skin. For many years I struggled with kind of accepting the fact that I'm super pale, and I actually at one point when I was growing up, I had such dark circles under my eyes, and it almost actually looked like under my eyes it was bruised. Because I'm so pale, you can actually see the veins under my eyes, and it looks like, sometimes if it's dark enough, if I haven't gotten sleep, like everybody on the face of the planet, or there are just some days where the skin under my eye looks more purple or more blue, and it just kind of is what it is. It's just kind of, that's how my skin is. So I remember my mom was super concerned about it at one point in my life, like when I was growing up, and we went to the doctor, and I remember the doctor just saying, well, just put on some makeup. Like, that's about it. That's all you can really do. There's no issues going on with my skin. There's no issues with my eyes. It's just how my skin looks. And there was some time that I struggled with it, because there was also, like, at that point, my mom didn't want me wearing makeup. Like, my mom made it a point for me to grow up with the mentality of I don't need makeup to feel beautiful or to feel fulfilled. Like, I didn't need any of that stuff. And she still yells at me nowadays to not wear makeup, because she tells me that it's just gonna damage my skin and I'm gonna look 10 times older when I get older or as I age. Which I think is hilarious, because I'm also one of those people that never takes off their makeup at the end of the night, or rarely does. That is why, though, I do purchase these Nivea or basically any makeup wipes that I can get my hands on. I also do, I was just reading a weird comment. All right. I also, not only do I use makeup wipes, but I have found in the past what has also really worked well is, what's it called? Baby wipes. Baby wipes work as well, and they tend to, you get like quadruple the amount for less than the price of these guys. These makeup wipes cost $7.78. I bought these at Walmart. Now, you're gonna hear Walmart a lot, because I tend to buy a lot of my makeup from Walmart, just because comparison to even Shoppers Drug Mart, which is like a general drugstore but carries makeup, and it's like a drug mart store where you can buy makeup from there as well. It's depending on which area you go, it's, no matter what area you go, actually, it's like quadruple the price than it is at Walmart. So for me, I just like to go buy as much of my makeup at Walmart as I possibly can, because I don't want to spend a lot of money on my makeup. I just don't. It's one of those things that, why should I buy the same product for $4 to $5 more at Shoppers Drug Mart versus Walmart? Like, what's the difference? Like, for me, I just can't justify spending a lot of money on makeup. Not that I won't, because there are a handful of products on my desk here that I have splurged on and I do spend quite a bit of money on, but it's one of those things that I have figured out a routine and a set of makeup that works for my face, that looks good, or at least that I think looks good. And that's the whole point, I think, of this beauty routine for me. There may be things that I do with my makeup and the way I put on my makeup that may not be right or the correct way of doing it, but I've figured it out. I mean, no one ever taught me. I've watched a handful of YouTube videos over the years, but I definitely feel like I could relate. There was a period of time a couple years ago when everybody was doing their videos talking about how they had done their makeup over the years, and it's funny to see. I think the person that I related the most to was probably Jenna Marbles. I think she's like my spirit animal, and I just agree and relate to her a lot on a lot of different things. But she wore minimal to no makeup growing up, and she kind of had the same background with parenting that I did, in the sense that, like, our parents didn't let us wear makeup. And it's not to say that my mom didn't let me, but she really didn't want me to rely on it or feel like I had to wear it. And I kind of thank her for it, because honestly, my skin, there's nothing really wrong with my skin. I get pimples here and there, but overall, I don't have serious issues with my skin. And for that, I'm seriously grateful for that. But her video of how her makeup was done over the years, I just related to the most, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. I will leave a link in the description box down below if you guys want to check it out. I will have that linked. I think it just cracked me up. I died laughing. But it kind of was the mentality that I didn't wear makeup for many years, and I didn't start wearing it, and I kind of figured it out on my own as I went along. For many years, I wore the wrong color foundation, just like I think the most of us do. For many years, the first time I wore a full face of foundation and makeup was when I went to MAC for the first time when I was in university, and I had one of the makeup artists do a full face of makeup because I was doing a photo shoot with a friend. And I needed to have good quality makeup. So I went in and I splurged on the foundation, I splurged on kind of whatever else he recommended, and that was the first like toes dipping into water of foundation and makeup that I got. And for years after that, there were a couple of years where I wore MAC foundation. I don't know if it's still true to this day, but for many years, I mean, there was a point, I think maybe there were 3 years where I wore MAC foundation, or 2 to 3 years. But then eventually I stopped because, to be quite honest, the color, just their lightest shade wasn't light enough for my skin. So I don't know if that's still true. I haven't bought or looked into MAC foundation in a really long time, but their lightest shade didn't match me, or it only matched me for like 3 to 4 years, or 3 to 4 months out of the whole year. So for me, foundation and trying to figure out makeup has been a process that I've been doing for many, many years, and it's something that I've been trying to still figure out. And it changes for me every couple of months, because every couple of months it just depends on how much I'm actually outside. It depends on how much sun I get, and during the summertime I get a little bit darker, but generally I don't really tan, and I don't spend a lot of time because I work a full-time job inside a building. So my foundation has been one of those things that I've tried dozens and dozens of different foundations over the years. So it's something, the one that I use now and I've landed on is one of my favorites that I've tried over the years. I have been a person that's gone from MAC to Sephora to Shoppers Drug Mart. I've gone from, $10 foundations to the like $40 foundations. I've kind of tried the full span, and I feel like there has been hit and misses. No matter how much I spent, they all kind of varied. Like they all weren't either like the best thing I've ever tried, or like there were some okay ones, but a lot of misses. So I'm not going to say that having to spend $50 on a foundation is going to be the way to go for you. And I personally am not a fan of Sephora, so I guess I shouldn't start on the haterade just yet. Going into this podcast, but I've had some really negative experiences in Sephora, so I generally tend to avoid it. So that's another thing. It's like a giant makeup supply store that I tend to avoid, and I hate going to because it just ends up like it's always a shit experience, and I've never had really a positive experience at a Sephora. Like I've always had really weird experiences, which I feel like we should get into a little bit later. But I'm gonna do a little bit more product review on what I use. Beyond the makeup wipes, I use Clean and Clear Morning Burst. Usually I use this on my face in the mornings if I have leftover makeup, or at the end of the night I use this anyways just to get the rest of my makeup off. I purchased the blue one recently. It is an oil-free, purifying facial cleanser. This guy I purchased at Walmart as well most recently, and it cost about $8.97. And I think that it wasn't on sale the last time I checked, or the last time I remember it wasn't on sale. But again, they tend to be cheaper at Walmart even if it's on sale or not on sale. So check out, that is your like secret place to go to. It's my like secret place to, stock up on makeup supplies or beauty supplies. This is what I use on my face. Beyond that, I don't really use anything else. I don't use any scrubs. I don't use any crazy intense like face masks. For a period of time, I did use this Glam Glow because I got a little sample of it. I recently went to Sephora to try and buy some, and like the tiniest jar was $30, and then the mid-range bottle is like $60, and I just can't justify spending that because I think it's absolutely insane to spend $30 on something that's like, it's not even this size, it's even smaller than this. It's like, do I have anything? I think it was like about this size, which is just tiny for some face mask shit. Like, I think it's just crazy for anybody to spend $35 on something that tiny. For that tiny amount of product, it's absolutely insane. I got more product in this sample than I would if I spent the money on the stupid little jar. So I didn't end up buying it, but I do have to say, out of any of the face masks I have ever used, I had the best experience with this Glam Glow. It's a charcoal one. It's a super mud cleaning treatment. It was easily one of my favorites, and it worked the best on my skin. I just can't justify spending that kind of money on something that's probably going to dry up, or I'm probably not going to finish. So there's that. Beyond that, the stuff that I use on a regular basis, I use Crest White Strips, and I've used this stuff for many years now. It was a couple years ago. I was wanting to get teeth whitening done, but I didn't want to spend, I knew it was really expensive, and at the same time, I know I have sensitive teeth, so I didn't want to really do anything that could possibly do more or do damage to my teeth. So I ended up investing. I asked my dentist at the time if whitening strips actually worked and if they were worth it, and she suggested any of the ones at like a Shoppers would work just fine. So over the years, I have found that these Crest White Strips have worked the best. I recently bought this box of No Slip White Strip Dental Whitening Kit, Classic Vivid, 10 strips. In total, it's a box of 20. It cost me about $20, and I get these on sale, so I think the regular price is, I think it might be more than that. I think it's $27, or it's around $30. I got it for $20 because I got it when it was on sale. And same thing with the matching toothpaste. I tend to use any of the whitening toothpaste along with that, because I do find if you do it consistently for at least a month, it really does help with stains. And I am a coffee drinker, I am a wine drinker, I drink a lot of things that stain my teeth, so the whitening strips really do help to get rid of a lot of that staining. Beyond that, I use the good old Degree deodorant, and for any issues, I have found this stuff works easily the best as far as issues with pimples or aggressive pimples. The Clean and Clear Persa Gel 5, it's 5% benzoyl peroxide, maximum strength. I think I got this guy on sale, so I think it was about $5 or $6. I think at max, at regular price, this stuff is about $10, so you're not going to spend a crazy amount, or you're not going to have to spend a crazy amount for this, and I do feel like this really does help. I wouldn't recommend wearing this daily, like during the day, because it dries up and looks super weird and crusty and white, so I would recommend doing it as an overnight treatment, but this stuff is incredibly strong, and I do find that it really does help get rid of pimples. So check this out. It's a little white bottle. It should be near the cleaning, like face washes and scrubs I usually find at Shoppers, so if you're looking for that, that's where that usually is. Now, moving on to what I usually start with as a base on my face, there have been a couple of things that I've tried recently. My go-to as of last year, I wanted to get a primer, and somehow I ended up finding this instead, and it's like, I thought it was a primer, but it's apparently a moisturizing makeup base, so a pre-makeup base. This is easily one of the most expensive products I have ever bought, and that I use on a regular basis on my face. It's by Huda Beauty. I bought it from Sephora, and this guy, just base price, not tax, is $45. This is easily the most expensive thing that I have purchased as far as face stuff, or that I use on, like, for makeup. I have to say, out of all the makeups and primers that I had tried while I was at Sephora, with, you know, the manager being absolutely no help, or the sales associate, whoever she was, being really little to no help, all of the primers smelled really funny and like had this super greasy feel, and I am one person that hates grease. Anything greasy, anything that's that I can feel sitting on top of my skin, I will absolutely not use. So this Huda stuff, to me, I don't know if it's grape seeds inside of this, but it has this really nice, like, I don't know why it makes me think of grapeseed, but it has this really nice, like, fruity smell to it, but not like fake fruity smell. It just has this really nice light smell to it. And I only put like 1 pump's worth, and that's enough to moisturize or use as a base for my face. And I've been using it for a couple of months now, and I don't think it's done really anything like moisturizing wise to my face, but I do have to say, like, I leave it on for a minute or two, my skin absorbs it, and it just feels really nice. It doesn't feel greasy. It doesn't feel like it's sitting on my skin. It doesn't feel thick. And overall, it just feels really nice going on. And even whenever I have like a little bit left on my fingertips and on my hands, it just, again, overall feels really nice. Now, I've tried to find a dupe or something that could replace the $45 that I would have to spend every like 2 to 3 months on the Huda primer / cream. And the next best thing that I have found is an e.l.f. product, and it is just their regular moisture lock primer. This does feel a little bit thicker going on. I'm just gonna put some on my finger because I want to describe the smell. I mean, smell wise, it has like a cucumber smell to it, and overall it definitely has like a thicker consistency than the Huda does. And I have been trying to like make myself believe that this could replace my Huda product. I mean, it almost looks identical to it, but I do have to say the quality of the Huda product is definitely better, but it's not to say that this is bad. I do find that the e.l.f. primer does absorb fairly quickly. I do have to leave it on for maybe a minute longer than I would have to leave the Huda on, but I think this e.l.f. primer or this e.l.f. makeup or this e.l.f. moisturizer, how much is it? I think it was about $7 or $8. And I've been buying a lot of my e.l.f. makeup from Walmart, again, because I think they're the only store that actually carries e.l.f. makeup in Toronto beyond some Old Navy's. So I've been finding all my e.l.f. makeup there. Again, it's not going to be the perfect dupe, just because it's a very inexpensive brand. It may not have as luxurious items as the Huda product does, but it's a pretty okay dupe. Now, the days that I commit and decide to not wear makeup, I have committed to purchasing and being active in wearing sunscreen, and I purchased this Neutrogena Ultra Sheer Face Sunscreen. It's a 60 SPF. And I've been finding that this is pretty thin. It goes on. I do feel like it, I noticed it this morning when I put it on, that it had some like little bit of white streaks, which was a little bit weird. And I just have to rub it in a little bit harder. But overall, for like an option for your face where it doesn't feel thick or it doesn't feel like it's burning at any aspect of like under the eyes or around the eyes or around your mouth, this stuff is pretty great. I haven't had any issues with it. I haven't noticed it making me break out or anything. So if you're looking for something for the summertime, I would recommend the Ultra Sheer Neutrogena. I think this guy again was about $10, so not the cheapest, but for face cream, and you like, I've barely made a dent into this bottle. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to finish this before it expires, and it doesn't even seem to have an expiration date on it. So maybe it does, and I'm just not seeing it. But overall, another great find if you're going no makeup. So moving on beyond the primer, I have come across and tried another e.l.f. product that I absolutely fell in love with, and I feel like it does do a pretty great job of really creating a really nice, like smooth base for putting on makeup, and it is the e.l.f. Hydrating Face Primer. Now the face primer, let me see if I got the cost of this down somewhere. I don't think I got the cost of this either. What the heck, man? Slacking on the job, man. Walmart. Let me see. Let me find out what the cost of it is. .ca. I think it was about $5 as well. Nothing crazy expensive. That's the one thing I've been incredibly impressed with e.l.f. is that their overall costs have been so low, and that I can buy a handful of products to see if I can like test it out and see if I like it or if it works. So this hydrating primer is $7.97. So again, pretty inexpensive, overall pretty great. It goes on, I've tried it, it's pretty comparable to a couple of primers or like priming kind of solutions that I've tried in the past. I'd say it probably has a comparable consistency to the Baby Skin Maybelline, but I found that this stuff just, it doesn't look right under the foundation. So I stopped using that. But something about the e.l.f. face primer, they figured it out to like make it work and to like really cover up the pores and make everything look really even. And it just feels so silky going on. It is a little bit thicker than most other things, but not uncomfortably thick. Again, it feels very silky going on. So I'm just putting it all over top of the Huda moisturizer. Do you play any sport or dance? Do I play any sports? I mean, I race. I'm now answering a few random questions on the YouTube live here. I don't really play any sports. I don't really dance either, but I've been racing for 3 years. I do obstacle course racing. So that's definitely something that has taken up 3 years of my life, and has helped me, been a great excuse to travel. But as far as sports go, no, I don't really, I don't know. I guess, does obstacle course racing fall under sport? I don't know. You tell me. Anyways, moving on. I'm going to let this soak in a little bit. So the e.l.f. primer, again, for $7.97, it's a fairly inexpensive price. It's a product that goes on really smoothly, and I found that it works really well with my overall foundation. So as far as that goes, we're going to move on to the actual foundation that I keep raving about. I think I've gotten everything so far. As far as the prices go, I'm just checking out my price list. Now, this foundation, I ended up watching a Jeffree Star video, and I was looking to replace a foundation because I had recently been trying to figure out something new, something light, but something full coverage. So that's a big thing for me. I like full coverage, but I need it to be light because, again, I just don't want my like face looking like it's melting off, or like I have like a thick layer of like just skin or cake on my face. I never want to achieve full cake face. I'm good without it. I had tried the e.l.f. Flawless Finish Foundation. Again, a very inexpensive product. I think this also is about $8, but I just wasn't finding that it was going on as consistent. Like, the consistency of it going on wasn't that great. The color wasn't that great. Just overall, it wasn't ideal for the kind of coverage that I wanted. So I have turned to the L'Oreal 24-Hour Foundation Infallible Total Coverage. It is a full coverage, lightweight. Why am I struggling so hard to English right now? Weightless feel, full coverage, weightless feel, and I do have to say it has like the consistency of like a whipped mousse. This foundation is easily another one of the most like expensive products that I have in this full face of makeup. I tend to try and buy this when it's on sale. The last time I purchased this foundation on sale, it was $22.89. I think at regular price, I think it might be a $27 foundation, but I do have to say it does last me about 3 months or maybe more. Now during the summertime, again, because I wear makeup less, it tends to last me a little bit longer. But this foundation, so far I have found it has worked easily the best for me. So I tend to just squirt it on because it's a tube. And that's another thing that I really like, because you're going to get every drop of foundation out of this tube and you're going to get it on your face. Like, you're not going to have anything like wasted in the bottle, and that's what I love about this foundation. Now, you can get it cheaper at Walmart. At regular price, I think it's about $16 or $17. So you can look out for it there. The color, this is probably as close to my current color as I could get, and I'm kind of in between 302 and 303, but that is as close as I'm gonna get to my color currently. And I do have to say, so my beauty blenders, this is another bone I have to pick. Why are sponges Like, why are these sponges $20 to $25? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why is a sponge $20? Why are people asking $20 for a freaking sponge? I don't get it. And I don't think it's okay. I do not agree. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that anybody should have to pay $20 for a sponge. So here is my new kind of like tidbit and little hack and inside secret for all of you. This sponge is currently the new sponge that I purchased. Where's my old sponge? I think I threw it out. No, where's my old sponge? Where is my old sponge? That doesn't make any sense. It was in this drawer. Alrighty, well, my new sponge, I think I must have thrown it out finally. The last two sponges that I purchased actually at Forever 21. Yes, you heard me right. I purchased my sponges at Forever 21. The singles are about $5, and then you can buy packs for like around $10. I do have to say, I am one of those people that has actually used Forever 21 makeup for many years. For many years, I actually used their contour palette, and the only reason I stopped using it is because I couldn't find it in store anymore. And I am 100% one of those people that I will not buy my makeup online, because I am just afraid of spending all that money on makeup and then for it to show up in pieces. Like, if I can't physically purchase it at the store, then I will not be buying it online, because it's just, there's too many opportunities for it to be broken. So as far as sponges go, I have found that recently their sponges have become better in quality. I have purchased sponges from them in the past where I found that they were really hard and that they weren't really that great. They weren't really porous. They didn't really take to water really well, which is really weird. But as of recently, I bought my last sponge during the Christmas season, and this one I bought like 3 weeks ago, and the quality has definitely gotten better. So if you want to spend $5 for a sponge rather than $20, this is the sponge. That is where you can go and check out. So I've just dabbed on all my foundation, and I feel like it's on fairly consistently, like it's on fairly smooth, and that's about it. That's all I'll do. I'll dab on my foundation, and that's about it. So moving on from my foundation, I have dabbled and tried to find a concealer. I've never really tried concealers until this year. It was a first for me. Again, my makeup journey has been completely self-learned and self-taught. It's not something that I went to school for. It's not something I really had anyone teach me. It's something that I've just kind of discovered and figured out on my own, what I like and what I don't like. So I did poke around on YouTube to see if anybody had done any reviews on quality of new foundation or new contours, and I came across Tati's review of e.l.f.'s 16-hour camo concealer, and I think I also found and watched Jeffree Star's concealer or review video of this as well, and I wanted to try it out. So I went to Walmart, as per usual, and found e.l.f.'s camo concealer, and I purchased the light peach. I think works well for my skin tone, and I get the look that I want from it. So I usually just put I put a dab under each eye, and then I do like 2 wisps just between and above my eyebrows, a little down my nose, and then down around my jawline. Again, this isn't something I know or think I'm doing right. It's just something I like to do. I think it works. I looked up a couple of videos, and then I got bored and I just turned off. So I decided to just test out and see what works and the look that works for my face. So I grab my beauty blender, I flip it to the other side, and just continue on dabbing and blending out the camo concealer. It's very thick, it's very full coverage. I definitely feel like this color works for me. The only disappointing thing that I have to say when it comes to Walmart and the e.l.f. section and the makeup section in general, it always seems to be a complete disaster, and it always feels like it's kind of in disarray. And it's not like a Shoppers where clearly somebody has taken the time to like organize it and refill it properly. So I actually had to go to 2 Walmarts. I went to 2 separate Walmarts to find that refill because I had burned through my first one. So I went to Walmart again to replace it, and the first one didn't have it. So I went to a second one, which is where I found my light peach. And I think this is stuff that I would attempt to order online. But again, e.l.f. is American, so the conversion plus then shipping costs, and then I'm scared of duties, of having to pay any duties in between. So if I can just find it at Walmart here, you know, I would rather drive to 2 different Walmarts rather than pay and deal with of like all the cost of like the conversion and the taxes and all that jazz. So e.l.f. is somewhere, e.l.f. products I just tend to purchase at Walmart, and that's what I stick to. So I think I've concealed my face enough, and I look like a scary ghost in my camera, which is kind of scary to look at, but this is what my face looks like. And I totally missed the one eye. I'm just gonna pat down the other eye. So there's that. And the Camo Concealer, again, is I was shocked actually doing research and looking to buy concealer. I couldn't believe how expensive concealers were. They're just as expensive as foundations, which I just was, again, shocked by. But the Camo Concealer by e.l.f. is $6.97. So fairly reasonably priced, $7. If you mess up on what color you are or don't get the right color, it's not an astronomical price that's gonna really hurt your wallet, or it's not gonna really gouge out. Like if you spend like $30 or $40 at Sephora on a concealer, you know, that tends to hurt a little bit more. I do have to say, though, only if, like, the one of few things that I like about Sephora is that their return policy is incredibly great. So if you have an issue with the products, or if you don't like them, or if they don't work for you, or if you react to them, you can return them with a receipt. So that's the one thing I will give kudos to Sephora about, having an amazing return policy. So now that I have my foundation and my concealer on, I am going to move on to a powder. I tend to powder everything down because I really like to keep everything in place. Now, as far as this powder goes, it is another e.l.f. product. The problem is I tried to find this recently on their website so I could tell you guys exactly what the product is. On the bottom it says Soft Illuminance. So I feel like this is just like an illuminance powder / it's just kind of like a setting powder, and that is how I treat it and the way I use it. So I grab a fluffy brush, and I usually tend to have some sort of a towel just so I can like wipe off excess or whatever, something that I just have on the side. I grab a fluffy brush and I just lightly dab on the powder onto all the liquids and the foundations and the concealers and the primers that I have put on to my face. So I guess I should talk a little bit more about makeup. I mean, over the years, I've had some weird experiences with makeup, in the sense that, like, my relation to other people, like, an ex of mine absolutely hated when I wore makeup, and he hated how much time I would spend putting on makeup. And I guess to some extent, he just had a poor way of maybe expressing the fact that you know, I was beautiful without it, or, you know, maybe he didn't feel that way and just thought it is super negative. The way he referred to my makeup was like clown makeup, and it really did hurt my feelings, and it did bother me for like a day or two, and then I got over it because I just didn't care. I like putting on makeup. I don't feel like I have an issue with it, and for me it's very cathartic and very relaxing, and it feels like such a meditative process to me that I refuse to allow anybody's opinion about me and my makeup influence how I feel about it, or the fact that I will do it or I don't do it. It's something that I enjoy doing, and I just will not have somebody kind of stand in the way of that. It's time for me to really relax, and I could do my makeup for like 3 hours. It's not to say that I'm gonna sit there and like cake my face on for 3 hours with product, but I do my hair in between, I watch videos in between, I go eat, I make breakfast. So that's how it turns into, like, it gets to be like a drawn out process of like 3 hours sometimes on the weekends when I have time. I don't do that every day anymore because I just don't have the time. But I really enjoy, it's like very meditative, it's very relaxing. I get to draw everything on, and it's almost like the artist in me gets a chance to do some painting on a regular basis without having to pull out a canvas and paint. I get to just paint on my face, and that's the way I look at it. I feel like it's not something I have to do, it's something that I want to do. I like the look I can create. I like the fact that I can create any look. I feel that it's fun when you get to create your face and kind of design however you want to look that day, and I think that's really, really cool. I think a lot of women are maybe pressured to look a certain way and that they have to wear it. I don't feel like I have to. I feel like I want to, and it's something that's been a pretty positive overall experience for me. So I'm just gonna, now I'm gonna let the powder just kind of settle a little bit. I'm gonna fill in my eyebrows. I have over the years just gotten, again, filling in the eyebrows wasn't a thing until, I don't know what, maybe 2 years ago. Like, I haven't been filling in my eyebrows for many years, not until recently. And so I started with pencils, and now I've kind of graduated to 2 separate products, and I've only graduated to 2 separate products recently. I've been purchasing Essence, which is a very, very inexpensive Canadian brand at Shoppers Drug Mart. It tends to be hidden, or like their little display tends to be even sometimes separate from the makeup section. So check like around the aisles, because it's usually like sometimes away from the makeup. But this stuff is incredibly expensive. I feel like the quality is fairly comparable to the expensive stuff that I've used in the past. These eyebrow pencils are $2.50. This pencil is $2.50 rather than like the $7 or $8 that some of the other products are as well. Beyond that, I forgot to mention the powder. I believe that the e.l.f. powder was about $8. So pretty comparable to the other powder foundations that are on the market. Just saying. So I'm gonna just fill in my eyebrows here. But yeah, I mean, I didn't start wearing a full face of makeup until, I don't know, again, university. And now it's just something, again, that I actually tend to wear like full faces of makeup a lot less. Like here and there I tend to wear it, but unless we're going out on like date night, or if I really want to like feel like a Barbie doll or look like a Barbie doll or look really done up, then I rarely do this much makeup. Maybe on the weekends when I actually have time in the mornings to pamper myself, then I do it. But I have learned to cherish, I've learned that I cherish my sleep, and I prefer to sleep in rather than doing my makeup in the mornings nowadays. I just don't have time for it anymore. I just don't care anymore, to be quite honest. But it is hilarious. I do have to say, every day when I wear makeup, or the times that I wear makeup or where I don't makeup, are the most interesting learning experiences. And I recently had one with a client of mine that came into my workplace, and I decided I was going out afterwards to a barbecue, and I decided that morning I was actually gonna get up early. I put on a whole face of makeup, sprayed down some setting spray, and hoped that it would stay the like 9 hours that I work to 10 hours that I work. And yes, it managed to stay. And by the end of the day, when she came in, it was so funny because, again, I don't tend to wear that much makeup to work, and I had like full contour, I had the eyelashes, I had color going on, I had some really nice jewelry on as well at the same time. And she like literally stopped dead on her tracks, and she was like, "Oh my god, you look smoking hot. Like, what the heck? You just stopped me completely." Like, she stopped and like didn't move and was just staring at me. It was the funniest thing. And the times that I don't wear makeup, I mean, I've had my boss say like, "You don't look too great." And I'm just like, "Yeah, A, I'm actually sick, and no, I'm not wearing makeup." And then the next day, have a full face of makeup, still feel just as garbage as I did the day before. He's like, "Oh, well, you look better." I'm like, "Yeah, it's because I'm wearing makeup to hide the pain and misery and the fever that I have going on right now." So that's about it. I won't do anything crazy beyond that. I just draw and fill the eyebrows in. Recently, I got a great gift basket that I won at a giveaway, and I found this inside of it, and it's Maybelline New York Brow Precise Fiber Volumizer. Now, the one thing that was weird, I was trying to find this online to find you guys a price, and I don't know if this has been discontinued, but I couldn't find the price of it. Just an approximate price, and this guy's again a little bit more on the high end. It's $12 from what I found online at other random websites, so I don't know again if that's the actual cost of it. I really have found and enjoyed the look that it creates. The fact that it kind of like grabs and colors every single eyebrow, and it just really does do a great job of volumizing the eyebrows. And I kind of just do a crazy look where I brush them kind of all up, because why the fuck not? But overall, I've enjoyed the look that this product has created and added to my eyebrows. It adds like definition. It's almost like a highlights for your hair, but for your eyebrows. It really like just grabs each little hair and gives them a podium to shine on. And I just kind of fill it in like from front to back, and kind of leave them looking super kind of crazy like that. I don't brush them down. I kind of just brush them up into a little bit to the side, and it's how I like them looking. So there's that. So eyebrows are done. This is basically all I do to my eyebrows. I don't really do much. I'm not into the concept or the idea of tattooing eyebrows onto my face. I'm not that desperate to have the look of tattoo or to have the look of eyebrows on. Again, when I take all of this off, see, the one thing when it comes to me is that to some extent, I'm actually pretty lazy. Like when it comes to my hair, I have only in the last like year and a half taken more time to really take care of my hair and diet it on a regular basis. But as far as like beauty things, like I recently was gonna get eyelash extensions. The one thing that has stopped me over the years of like in the last year when they became popular, the only thing that first, like right off the bat, stopped me is the fact that somebody is that close to my eyes with super like toxic glue is so scary to me. Like my eyes and my vision is so important to me that the idea of losing my vision because of something so stupid as eyebrow or eyelash extensions just is like, I would hate myself for the like I could never forgive myself if that's what actually happened. So I mean, I found this reputable girl. It looks like she does an amazing job. Like 2 days or 3 days before I was going to get them, I did something to my eye at work where I feel like I irritated or scratched it. So I ended up canceling the appointment. It's not to say that I'll never get eyelash extensions, because I think that it could add to like my the laziness that I am and not having to do makeup and kind of create a look of like I'm already kind of done a little bit. But the idea of having somebody so close with glue to my eyes, that's why I like the idea of just glue on strip lashes, because if I get glue in my eye, at least I can only blame myself, and it's super non-toxic glue. We will get to which glue I use, but strip lashes, the one thing I like about them is that I can take them off at the end of the night. I can just rip them off and get rid of them, and it's a done deal. And if I get tired of them, I don't have to pay somebody to go get them taken, like chemically taken off, or if they're blocking my peripherals. Like the concept of I did do some research into eyelash extensions and some of the techs out there, and I have to say the amount of photos that I came across with girls that had their eyelashes done, they literally look like Muppets, and they look crazy to me. Like if you like the full eyelash look, have at it, girlfriend. Who am I to judge? Do you live your life? Do what you want. Like, I am not gonna judge you, but I may giggle just a little bit because it looks a little funny to me. So I definitely am not interested in the full Muppet look. But like a little bit blow up doll like porn star, maybe I'm kind of down for that look. So maybe one of these days I will do the eyelash extensions, but for right now, even they sound like so much maintenance. Like you gotta use oil-free stuff and this, that, and just too much effort. I'd rather just glue these things on to my face and then rip them off at the end of the night and be done with it. So moving on, I feel like my face is pretty much baked on and basically the powder has done its job and it's on. I finally gave in at the beginning of this year and spent the money on like a proper contour kit. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I would buy mine from Forever 21 for the longest time, and I still have my old ones. But I ended up splurging and spent the money on the NYX contour kit. It is the powder version. I'm not interested in contour, like cream contours, mostly just because I don't know how to use the product enough, and I feel like they're too dark. Like a lot of the creams are too dark for my skin, where I feel like a lot of these colors tend to fit more of my skin profile. So I ended up buying this at Shoppers Drug Mart. I do believe that this kit is $27. It's $27 for the 8 shadows. I was finding contour palettes at Sephora half the size of this for $60, which, bish what? Like, excuse me? For 4 shadows, you want $60? Like, again, another one of those things where I'm like, you're out of your mind. I will not spend $60. I bought this from Shoppers Drug Mart, and because I have Optimum points and you can collect points, like they have a point card system, I got $10 off. So I ended up being able to buy this, like I ended up spending I think $20 with tax, and ended up being $20 for this palette. It has been one of my favorite purchases since, as far as makeup goes, beyond all the e.l.f. stuff that I've just been raving about. This contour palette is easily one of my favorite palettes that I have come across. I have for years. My sister got me a couple years ago the Kat Von D contour palette. I liked it. I used up what colors I could use, and half of it is basically still sitting in my drawer because I can't use it. It's way too dark, and I don't work at a nightclub anymore where I can get away with having such dark colors. But the thing that I love about this palette is that you can pop out the pots, I think that's what they're referred to, the little pots of color, and you can replace them individually rather than the whole thing and having to spend another like $45 to $60 on the whole palette, and you end up using like 2 or 3 colors. I think that is ingenious of NYX doing that, and you're gonna have a lot more repeat customers rather than having to spend the whole like $45, $50 to replace the whole thing. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to start contouring. I'm not going to really, I guess, overview on brushes. I didn't write down all the prices of my brushes because honestly, I have collected my brushes over the years. I have had them gifted to me. I have purchased them. I have purchased, a majority of my brushes from Forever 21, like the ones that I have currently in my hand and that I use for my contouring and my foundation, I have purchased from Forever 21. I've also purchased brushes from Walmart from a brand called Still Spa Essentials, and they range anywhere from like $2 to $3. And then the Forever 21 ones, I've purchased packs of like 5 to 6 for about $20. And I mean, they're not perfect. A lot of the newer ones that I purchased from Forever 21 have been pretty great. I clean them regularly with like shampoo, and they've lasted and they do the job. So I'm going to dip in to this color. Let's see what color it is. Bottom, it is the bottom right, 07. It is the Sculpt color. I feel like this color is a color I've been trying to find since I purchased the Kat Von D, or since I had the Kat Von D palette, and I couldn't find it for the longest time. Like the Forever 21 was as close as I could get to it, but since then this is now as close to those colors as I can get. So I do usually like a light sweeping motion, and I recently heard, and a method and technique that I've used is sweeping up is what I've started to do instead of sweeping down. That way it doesn't look dragged and it doesn't look, you know, it doesn't make your like cheeks look chubbier down here, but it really helps to shape your cheeks and your cheekbones. So I'm just gonna do the other side. It's funny to me remembering and thinking back to the days where I used to work at a nightclub, because I used to wear makeup that was so inappropriate for my color, mostly because it was so much darker than I would ever, like if I wore it on like outside during the day, people would think I was crazy. But because it was so dark working inside the nightclub, that you would just pack it on and nobody would see it, because half your face is going to end up melting off anyways. So you're going to want to pack it on, but you're going to put on a darker color because no one really can see because it's so dark. So you really, to like define anything on your face, you really do have to put on like a darker color. So I'm just doing the crown of my hair, and I am doing on, hey, how's it going? So I'm doing a mix of Sculpt, and I'm also doing a mix of Toffee, which is this a little bit this darker color. And I like to blend the two and make my hairline a little bit darker than my cheekbones. And I definitely go further into like my hair, because you can see like I have a little bit of a, not a bald patch, but my hair is very thin in this one corner. So I like to fill it in with my contour because, you know, why not? 1,000 followers. You know what? I'm so grateful that, I mean, I've been on YouTube for I don't know how many years, and I know that my problem is that I'm not consistent. So I know that my growth and keeping, you know, producing enough content for you guys to even be interested, I understand that it's my own doing and my own fault for not being consistent and not growing my channel more. But now working a full-time job and then trying to literally work out and dealing, that's another touchy subject that I'm not sure if I want to get into. But honestly, like, between my job and trying to work out, and now my relationship, and then my friendships, like my relationships like outside of my like life, is really, really hard. And to then try and produce the kind of content that I want to produce for my channel, something's got to there has to be a sacrifice somewhere, and my relationships are not worth the sacrifice right now in my life. So such is life. Thank you so much for the compliment of the eyebrows. Again, I only use 2 products, so since you just joined, I'm going to show you what I use. It is this eyebrow pencil from Essence. It's a simple, cheap eyebrow pencil you can buy in Canada by, again, the designer / the company is called Essence. And then the other product that I just put in my eyebrows is this Eyebrow Precise. So if you want to check those out, for those of you who are part of the live chat currently. But yeah, I mean, overall, like, I don't even know what I was saying. What was I saying? I am distracted. I got distracted by the eyebrows. But yeah, I mean, the colors that we would have to use and the colors that we would use on our faces at the nightclub was just crazy. I think it was absolutely hilarious how dark we would go and what we would put on our faces to like make it stand out. But yeah, and then I'm just gonna do a little bit of jawline action. I've been overdoing it recently with my jawline, and it just looks like a fat brown line. So I end up just using my powder foundation and going over it a little bit, like my brush. And I end up just going over it just a little bit to like blend it out, and a little bit down my neck to create some sort of definition. I think I wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that the relationship I'm currently in is, he is easily the best man that I could have ever asked for, and is the kindest human being, and I'm so grateful, and I know it. I'm so lucky to have the man that I have in my life, and the fact that he appreciates that, you know, I do whatever I want to make me happy, and I made that very clear in the beginning when we started dating, that I was gonna do whatever I wanted that made me happy, and he loves that about me, and it makes me feel so good. But the fact that he doesn't necessarily have interest in what I do to my face as far as makeup goes, but I think he brought up an interesting point as far as how expensive it really can be. And the funny thing is I get fairly inexpensive makeup. Like, I try and not spend a lot of money on makeup. I can't even imagine. That was the one thing I had posted. I had made a post of my makeup, of all, like, everything that I use for a full face. And I'm really curious to know if any of you want to let me know in the comment section down below, or via Instagram, or wherever you want to reach me on socials. Please let me know how much money you spend on makeup. because I'm really curious to know what everybody else uses. If you don't buy makeup and you don't really have a makeup routine, what does your beauty routine cost you? Like, what kind of washes do you use? What kind of moisturizers do you use? I want to know what people spend every day or like on a monthly basis to do and keep up with a look or whatever your look is. I'm really freaking curious to know what people spend. So I was just dipping into the highlight soft light. It's this white color here, and just putting it under my eyes and doing a little bit down my nose. And I know I haven't contoured my nose, so I'm going to do that right now. I have converted one of my one of my brush, like just my fluffy brushes, my eyeshadow brushes, to a contour brush, because I feel like it's, ooh, Jesus, that was a bad idea. I just got brown contour all over my desk. Good job, Carolyn, good job. But I have started to use the brush, like a powder, like eyebrow brush, to contour my nose, because I feel like it gives me more of the defined, like it gives me more control over how my nose looks and how to contour my nose. So I like to use a powder brush. And again, I think I recently watched a beauty video. I don't know who was on it, but I think the one thing that was emphasized, all I remember, the one thing that was emphasized is the fact that, like, why does beauty have to have any rules? So why is it an issue, or if it is an issue to somebody, why is it an issue if I wear or use a powder brush, like an eyeshadow brush, for contouring my nose? It's, you know what, I'm just gonna live my life and do it anyway, so judge away. I put too much on. But you know what? It's fine, because you can literally just blend it out. And no one, I mean, people can judge me for it, have at it, but I don't care. I'm still gonna put on what I want on my face. And realistically, that little dip is gonna get covered by the highlight. But that's about it. That's as far as contouring goes. Like, I do my jaw, I do my cheeks, and I do the crown and my forehead, and that is about it. Chicas, that's about all I do as far as contour goes. So that's as far as we've gotten, and we're about an hour in because I rambled a lot in the beginning of the video. So I'm just gonna set the contour aside, see what I had next in mind. Glow. Oh, okay. So I'm not going to do that today because that's not a product I'm a fan of anymore, nor do I really use anymore. It's this NYX Away We Glow. This stuff I used to use as a highlight. I do find that it kind of goes on patchy, and it wasn't giving me the effect that I really liked, so I stopped using this. It's okay for like the Cupid's bow, like the just above your lip, or just the front, like the tip of your nose, but I feel like if you want to do it on your cheeks or anything, it just doesn't go on. It doesn't have a really nice, like, smooth consistency. It goes on really patchy, or like really just like streak. So if you're trying to kind of get a really soft like highlight, that is not really the product that I would go for, and it's about $12 too. So if you're looking for a cheaper highlight, there are better options out there. I do, and I have started to use the actual highlight that has come with the contour palette, which is Ice Queen. I also in the past have used and still use NYX's Twilight Tint, which is a specific illuminating powder, so I do use that as well. It's got this really nice like bluish tinge to it. I don't think I'm going to put it on right now because I think it's a little too blue for the look that I usually do. This one tends to be a little bit more softer and more of my like skin tone generally. So I have this one little white fluffy brush that I use, and I just, you know, go around the pot a little bit, get some on, and I do tip of my nose, a little bit at the bridge of my nose and the nostrils. I highlight the Cupid bow, and I just go up my nose a little bit. I don't like to go too crazy, so just enough that it's highlighted. And then I did get a proper highlighting brush, little fan guy, and I do the same thing. I dip into the same highlight, into Ice Queen, get some on the brush and then just go along my cheeks. And sometimes I do my forehead just a little bit, but I just tend to stick to the lips, the nose, and the cheeks. So that's it for highlight, contour. That's as far as we're going with that. Next, I think it would be wise to actually get into my eyeshadow routine. Now, as far as eyeshadows go, I've collected some eyeshadow palettes over the year. Just after Christmas, I did a big splurge and found out when Morphe came to Canada that I could purchase it at Sephora. So I braved Sephora after Christmas, and I ended up buying 3 palettes because I didn't want to have to go back. So I bought 3 palettes that they had at the time. I really tend to end up just sticking to using one, and I haven't really used them that much because I haven't really had like any sort of event or reason to like do a crazy colorful shadow. So I tend to stick to the like more neutrals and the more browns anyways. So I'm just gonna open this palette up, and same with this palette up. So each of these palettes are $30. That's right, you heard me. For 30 shadows, it's $30, which I can get behind. Anything that's like those little dinky palettes that you have to spend like $45 on at Sephora, I just can't. Like, it makes me angry. It makes me physically angry that anybody spends that kind of money. Now, okay, there might be a quality to the shadows that I just don't know about or I just don't care about, but the cost of that just blows my mind every time I think about it. So, and it's another reason I can avoid Sephora. If I'm running out of one of those little dinky palettes like every other month, like I don't want to go back. I don't have to go back, okay? I don't want to have to go back. So these Morphe palettes have been amazing. The colors, I've tried a bunch of the colors out, the bright, fun colors, and they've been incredible to use, and I'm forever grateful that I was able to purchase them. And the other palette that I have fallen in love with that I got a little while ago as a gift is the NYX Butt Naked Underneath It All. These colors are easily some of my favorites. These pinks, as you can tell, I've literally hit pan, and they are nearly disappeared. I'm gonna go to NYX as soon as I can to see if I can replace them because these pinks are easily my favorites. So I tend to mix a little bit of a pink and a little bit of a brown to get the kind of look that I like to get. Again, those palettes were about $30. This guy, I think is, did I not write it down? Oh no. I think it's about $24 if I'm not mistaken, so a little bit pricey, but it does come with a whole whack load of highlighters, which as you can tell, again, I hit pan on, and some blushes as well. Am I naturally blonde? Yeah, actually, technically, naturally, yes, I am naturally blonde. Naturally, when I was a kid, I was a much even blonder than this, if you can believe it. I was like a bleach blonde baby. I didn't dye my hair for many, many, many years. I dyed my hair permanently for the first time, I think maybe like, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago, let's say, about 6 years ago. And then ever since then, I've like went through the ombre phase, and then as of like this year, I finally went to the roots, and I've dyed my hair to the root, very blonde. So I don't even feel like when I dye my hair naturally, I don't even feel like anytime the hair dye is done and they're drying my hair and that like my hairdresser or anybody, whoever's dyeing my hair is looking for like a crazy reaction or a crazy response. The funny thing is I never have a crazy response or crazy reaction because it just feels right. It doesn't feel like I've done some crazy change. Being a bright blonde just feels natural and it feels right. So for me, because I don't get to be in the sun a lot, my hair doesn't get a lot of that vitamin D and doesn't get a chance to be naturally bleached by the sun. So I do dye my hair. I do get highlights. I do whatever she does to my hair. To be honest, I don't even know to this day really what she does. I just let her do her thing. And I love looking really bright and blonde. It's just one of my favorite things. I feel like it lightens up my face. I feel like it complements my face and my skin tone. And overall, it just kind of makes me feel like awake without really having to do a whole lot. It's like the eyelash extensions. I feel like it creates that kind of look of like, oh, you're kind of done. So let's get the eyes going. I usually tend to use this array of brushes, one from a very precise one to moderate fluffiness to super fluffy, and then my new recent addition and favorite was a super fluffy blending brush that I've absolutely fallen in love with. This guy is easily one of my favorite new brushes. I tend to grab the super precise guy and I dip into a very light white color in one of my Morphe palettes, and I do highlight underneath my eyebrow just to get a little bit more of that definition, because why not? Why should I have to use anything else? So I'm just highlighting the brow, and then beyond that, I'm going to dip into, let's see, what kind of a look do I want to do tonight? I think I'm gonna try and stick to the most common look that I go for and common colors that I go for. So I'm really trying to like dig out what's left of that pink color in this NYX palette, because it genuinely is one of my favorite colors, and I feel like it complements my eye color and my skin tone. I may be wrong, but I like it. So I generally tend to stick to it. And I feel like it's a good base color for most looks that I like to do. So I do have like a stubbly brush. I'm just a smudge brush that I'm just blending into my eye. This is easily, I think, going to be the longest podcast to date, because we're what 1:15 in, and I am barely done an eye look. So sorry for the length of this, guys, but I'm really enjoying this. This is pretty cathartic. Again, this is really relaxing to me. I enjoy doing my makeup. It's relaxing. It doesn't feel stressful. So now that I have like a light pink look base going on to it, I generally tend to dip into some sort of a brown color, whether it's like this family of guys or some of these. I like to just fill in the inside of my brow, like just in between my eye. So I'm just gonna dip into this. And I also have this palette open here too, which I think I might dip into a little bit of a darker brown. I still haven't found the right tone of brown that I like. There's this one tone of like Bobbi Brown shadow that I had for the longest time, and it was like the right taupey color that just makes my soul happy, and I haven't found a good replacement for it just yet. Wait, does my other NYX palette have something like it? Oh yes, it does. Basically the same thing as the Morphe palette, so I'm just gonna stick to the Morphe palette. And I'm gonna just powder this in a little bit. And then I'm gonna do the other eye. So I know this is pretty dark, and I mean, for an everyday look, it is pretty dark, and I probably wouldn't go this dark, but I'm kind of in a fuck it mood, so we're going with it. See what happens. Just gonna blend it out. I mean, to be quite honest, especially because it's getting warmer and warmer, I would only do this look probably for an evening time, like an evening time look, but I would probably, daytime, I would probably stop at like all the contour, and maybe I would do a very light, like just some sort of color on the eye for a day look, because again, it's just getting hotter and hotter, and it's very heavy. Like this is pretty heavy for summertime, I would say. So I'm just blending out the shadow kind of all over my eye. Again, yell at me all you want in the comment section down below if I'm doing it wrong, but this is the way I do it. This is the way I like to do it. I'm gonna do a little bit more. I'm just going to dip into a little bit darker color. Just get into the crook of my eye. And then we're going to move on to eyeliner, and then from eyeliner we're gonna go on to mascara, eyelashes, and all that jazz, and then we're done. Promise you guys. We're almost there. So that's about it. And then I actually have, this is a paintbrush that I actually purchased at an art store because I wanted to get a really precise brush for eyeshadow, like eyeliners and stuff. And the funny thing is, this brush probably cost me at the time, it probably cost me anywhere from like $4 to $6, where a brush like this at Sephora or like a proper makeup store would probably cost me like 15 to 30. So there's that. I'm going to dip into like more of a charcoaly, darker color and just line a little bit of the corner of my lashes and smudge it out just a little bit. I mean, I'm going to do an actual thick liner on top of this, but I like a little bit of the smudge look and the smudge tones that you can get with the eyeshadows. So I'm just blending it out just a little bit. And then I actually will go to the bottom lash and blend that a little bit. And just line basically my eyelashes, my bottom lashes, with this like charcoaly powder color. And then blend it a little bit out with my smudge brush. To get that full raccoon look. There. Eyes are back. We got my eyes back. Is that even? Alright, let's see. Are the eyes even? Ooh, somebody's got their motorcycle out. Okay. I think my eyes are even. Alrighty, so now that we got the shadow on, I'm gonna close these palettes up, stack them all back, grab my 2 eyeliners. So here's the story, Morning Glory. Again, I have tried really expensive liners. I've done the Kat Von D tattoo one. I've tried other ones, and honestly, again, for the like $25 to $30 that you're gonna spend, I have actually found 2 liners that have worked the best for me. I've got the L'Oreal Paris Carbon Black liner, super intense, thick. Like, this stuff is really thick. It goes on really well. I think this has got to be about $9 to $10 or maybe more. I think I bought it when it was on sale. The only problem that I have with it is that the pen, like the pen, the felt tip pen that they like bring or it comes with, is very thick and it's not very thin. So I tried to find something thinner and something that was a little bit more precise. And again, for the win, cheap and inexpensive Essence super fine pen. These Essence pens are, let me take a look, they are $3. So I need to go buy new ones. So you're gonna see me mixing these 2 products, mostly because my super fine pens are dried out. But for $3, you really can't go wrong. They last, I found that these guys last just as long as the old ones or as the really expensive ones do, if not longer. Like, I've had these ones for quite a while, to be quite honest. And they're super, super sharp. They're super, super fine. And for $3, why would you want to spend anything else? Or why would you want to buy anything else? Like, seriously, for $3 freaking dollars, you kind of would have to be crazy. Or you just really like wasting your money. Or maybe there's something that I'm just not getting. I just don't get it. I don't get the whole spend the money, like hundreds of dollars at Sephora. I just don't get it. So I'm just gonna draw out a wing on the right eye, and I'm just gonna quickly do the left eye. So if there's a moment of silence, bear with me. I'm still here, I swear. I'm just trying to concentrate semi and do this so it's semi-even for you all and I don't look like a complete crazy person on camera. Let me just grab the other one. I have 2 of these and they're both basically dried out. So I'm just trying to get the last little bits out for you guys here before I replace them this weekend. But overall, you can get a really fine wing on with these pens, and again, for $3 you really can't go wrong. Ugh, balls. It is not even! So what I do is I grab my makeup wipe and I fix it. I just go in and wipe it out. fix it. And I fill it in. And now this, because these are basically empty and I have to get new ones, I have been using my Intense Carbon by L'Oreal to fill it in, or to really get that thick, like, black glossy look. But the problem is, again, the pen that this thing comes with is so thick that it's really, really hard to get a thin cat eye with. So I really just use it to fill in kind of what my other eyeliner is currently lacking in, which I don't think is the end of the world. I just don't think it's that big of a deal, so I just use the other one. Anyways, eyeliner is on. We're basically done. I mean, at this point, if I wanted to just stop here, I would just, you know, put some mascara on and that would be it. But that would not be fair and it would be an injustice. Though the one thing I am going to do before I put on my eyelashes and before I put on mascara is I'm going to set my foundation. Now, I feel like a lot of people, I've recently heard some people online saying that setting spray is complete bullshit and that it's just water, and we've all been duped by makeup companies to be buying bottled sprayed water, like just bottled water with a spray lid. So I have tried in the past, I've tried the NYX matte finish. Now this guy is super popular. A lot of people love this setting spray. A lot of people have raved about it. This is actually my second bottle, but I do have to say it has this weird alcohol-y smell to it, which I'm not a fan of, and I feel like it ends up like bubbling or like doing a weird thing to my makeup, where right now it's perfectly matte and everything looks like happy and in place and it's not going anywhere. If I were to spray this on, it kind of like starts to dissolve my makeup, which is basically the opposite of what it's supposed to do. So I just leave that guy to the side. And of course, the new setting spray that I have attempted to try out and see what I think of is the e.l.f. Dewy Setting Spray. Is it the dewy one? I thought I got the matte. Okay, wait, no, I lied. Okay, it's not the dewy one. Dewy one I don't like because it's greasy. It makes my face look greasy. But I did get the e.l.f. Matte Magic Mist and Set. This guy is, I think this guy is, same thing. I think this is about like $7 or $8. So the one thing when it comes to setting sprays that I have noticed is because I like flinch violently and like shutter my eyes a lot, I like to do this before I put on mascara because my mascara ends up just all over my eyeballs. So I usually do my setting spray just before I finish my eye look off. So that is another great setting spray. I don't feel like there's no weird smell. I don't get any burning. I don't get any weird like sliding of makeup. I feel like this sets, if this actually is supposed to do anything, I feel like it does something as far as keeping my makeup in place. And I do have to say, when I went for that barbecue and I set my spray, like I used this spray and set my face on in the morning, my makeup didn't go anywhere in like 10 hours of work. So maybe it does do something. I don't know. You all tell me. So I'm gonna let that dry a little bit. Now, as far as lips go, I have tried a variety of lip products over the years, and I have found probably easily my last favorite purchases, and I started purchasing almost every freaking color. It was the Rimmel, I think is it Rimmel? Rimmel Stay Matte Liquid Lip Color. These colors and these matte lip glosses / lipsticks are amazing. They don't dry out your lips in the way that like you feel like you're gonna be peeling off like skin off your lips by the end of the night. They go on incredibly smooth, and they're really inexpensive, and they tend to be on sale whether it's at Walmart or Shoppers Drug Mart. I think these are about, again, these end up being, if you buy them on sale, they end up being like $4 to $5 or $5 to $6 at max. I think regular price they're about $8 or $9. So if you're looking for a good matte liquid lip, I would highly recommend Rimmel's Stay Matte, and they have a lot of great colors, and I feel like, especially if you're like me and you tend to be a fan of nude colors, their nude colors honestly go on incredibly well. So that is what I've used for about 1.5 to 2 years. I do have to say I did test out NYX's lingerie gloss. This is probably easily, I was trying to get away from matte lipsticks because I was wearing matte for a really long time and I wanted to have a little bit more of a natural color or natural look. So I do have to say I'm a huge fan of the NYX lingerie gloss, but the actual lingerie lip matte stuff is like paste. It's thick, it's gross, it goes on like glue, and after about an hour, if you're drinking or eating, it looks like you've caked like glue onto your lips. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend the lingerie just matte stuff, but the gloss stuff, A for effort. But I do have to say, recently I went into MAC because of the place that I work at. I had some access to some MAC makeup and old MAC makeup. So I gathered up 5 old lipsticks, or I think it's like 5 or 6, and got a free lipstick because I didn't want to spend, I can't believe these lipsticks used to be $20 and I think they're, what are they now? They're $23 now, which is kind of crazy to me. I think it's kind of ridiculous. So I'm not going to spend $23 on a lipstick, but I sure will get a free lipstick if I can. So I purchased, I think, what is it called? It's Honey, I wrote it down. Honey Love. So it's a pretty nude, it's a pretty natural nude color. It's a pinky nude. I feel like it matches kind of the look that I've been trying to go for a little while. But I also recently, in that gift basket that I got for free, I recently also got this Rimmel Matte Balm, and I do have to say, this is an pretty, like, as far as dupes go, it's pretty close in color. Like, the colors are pretty similar. I sometimes will put this on if I'm rushing to work instead of grabbing my MAC, or if I can't find it, if it's in a purse somewhere. I keep this in my backpack that I use to go to work because it's almost identical in color. It's much lighter, it's much smoother, and it's just feels like a lip balm that actually has a really nice color to it. So if you're gonna look for anything as far as like easy everyday to wear, this again, Rimmel Matte Balm is amazing. In color, this is color 255. So those two, I even sometimes will wear both. I will put on both because why not? But I tend to line my lips with another Essence product. I've had this for so long that I don't even know what color this is. It's worn off, and because I use it so often that I just like, it's been rubbed off. But this is the color that I use as far as trying to line my lips to match Honey or Honey Love or any of the other colors that I get. I usually tend to get, as you can tell, I mean, besides the middle one, all these colors are pretty like similar to one another. They're like some version of nude or pink, basically a very light brownish pink. So from here, I basically, to let my face dry even a little bit more, I will line my lips, and I try to not do anything crazy. I literally just will line my lips. If anything, I will fill out my top lip because my top lip isn't as thick or as plump as my bottom lip. So I do try and even it out just a little bit. So I will overline just a little bit on the outside lip, or sorry, the outside of the top lip, to create, you know, some definition. And the thought of lip injections kind of seems silly to me right now. It's not to say I won't ever change my mind in the future, but as of right now, it's a cost and pain and a look that might not work, or my body may not even like it, so I'm not willing to take that risk currently in my life. So I will have to shut up for like a second so I can finally line my lips. So that's as far as how my lips look when they're lined. Nothing crazy. Again, I just, you know, fill in the line. and try and not look like a crazy person, and trying to not overdraw and not get away too far from the natural look. So I will take Honey Love and I will fill in my lip. I go over a little bit of the liner to blend it in. And there are the lips. And I will sometimes, depending on how the lipstick has actually filled in my lips, I will maybe draw in a little bit of the liner just to maybe even out things or define things a little bit more. But that's about it. That's as far as I go with the lips. I try to not do too much. Now, to the final step, and really the most important step, most people would say, is the eyelashes. So I do have a pair of eyelashes just sitting to the side here because I've already taken them out of the box. I've already used these before, and I've only used them, I think, once before. So I'm just going to peel off and clean off the glue, which I'm sure some people are disturbed by or think I'm like trashy for doing this and I should just be grabbing a new pair. I've only worn these once. I mean, if you've only worn your lashes once, you are wasting your money, especially considering some lashes out there, again, cost like $20+ a pair, which I've tried. Again, I tried those really expensive lashes that I've bought them from Sephora, and the band on them are so thick that it's so difficult to actually get them to stay that it's not worth the money. So for years now, I've been buying my eyelashes from Walmart by either the brand Kiss or I think Adele or Adele they have, or is it Adrel, or what is it? I've just said like 20 different names. Ardell. I use either their lashes or these Kiss lashes. I've been using these for really long because the band is so thin and they feel so light but still give you that like full volume look, or at least the kind of full volume that I like. And of course, the glue that I prefer to use is Duo, and after listening and shamelessly watching Tana Mojo's videos from way back in the day of her doing her makeup and her referring to Duo white glue to looking like cum, I have chosen to purchase the glue that comes out looking black instead. And I do have to say, it's much easier to conceal the fact that you're wearing a lash and not having to go over your eyeliner or any of that. You don't have to do that really like twice. So I do have to say she does have a point in the fact that the black glue is much easier to deal with when you're putting your lashes on. So I do highly recommend you check that out. And the glue, I think, ranges anywhere from like, depending if you get a small tube like this, it can range anywhere from $5 to $6 up to, I think about $15, depending on where you purchase it again from. I think this bottle I bought last at Walmart, and I think it was maybe $5 or $6. So just depending on where you purchase it from, I'm getting to about the end of it, and I need to go buy another soon. I feel like this glue works the best. And here's a hack. If you ever go out and you are wearing lashes and you're concerned that you're going to lose a lash or you haven't secured them properly, bring the glue with you. But also, here is my favorite hack that I have come up with and I've used for probably about a decade now, is remember to bring a bobby pin with you, because the ends of bobby pins have little rounded like plastic, and you can use that to just quickly like precisely get the glue in where it needs to and then like hold the lash in, rather than bring like a whole arsenal in your purse or in the tiny clutch that you need to bring with you. So a bobby pin is very inconspicuous, it's very easy, it's very quick. Rarely has anybody actually ever noticed me doing it or reapplying my glue that way. So if that is my hack and my piece of advice for any of you who are looking to make sure that your eyelashes stay on all night long. So I'm just gonna let the glue dry a little bit. I guess I should explain a little bit why I hate Sephora so much. and the reason I've had so many negative experiences, I feel like every time I go into Sephora, especially my local one, it's always super packed or crazy busy, or it's a complete disaster. And I feel like nobody's around. The sales associates avoid eye contact. They never want to help me out. I feel like I always have to, like, because I worked in retail so long, it's very easy to spot a manager, or at least for me it is. So I always kind of wait and look around, and then I like make a straight beeline for the manager to help me out. But there have been times where I have to even, like, with like, a manager will take me over to like some general idea of the product that I need or I was looking for, and then she'll leave, and I'm just like, but you didn't help, and you didn't tell me whether or not you actually have this product or not. So I have to like go digging through their shelves, and I've shamelessly like opened their drawers and gone digging because nobody's willing to help me. Nobody's asked if I need help, so I'm gonna help myself. I'm gonna find what I need myself. And I feel like nobody ever wants to help. Nobody's interested in helping. The one time when I went to go buy the palettes, which wasn't at my local Sephora, I went to a different Sephora. The person that helped me, like halfway through, I caught her like checking herself out in a mirror and like not listening to like the thing I was saying to her or asking her, and I was just kind of like, you know what, I'm just gonna like, thanks but no thanks, I'm gonna just, you know, just let me go to the cash, you know, thanks for trying kind of thing. So I'm just gonna pop my lash on. So I think a lot of people know this trick. Generally, you want the glue to dry just a little bit because it's tacky, and then it stays on, and like the second you put your lash on, it's not going to move around or slide around. So you generally want the glue to dry just a little bit, so it's much easier to, like, it's a much easier process to actually get the lash on. So I don't use tweezers. I don't use any sort of like fancy tools to get the lashes on. I kind of just pop them on there and wait, you know, play around until it fits or it stays in place, and basically it kind of just, you know, goes on and stays on and is what it is. Like, I've tried the tweezers, I've tried to be all fancy with the eyelashes, and honestly it just doesn't do anything. I feel like it doesn't really like help the process or not help the process. So first lash on, next lash, we're gonna do the next lash. So yeah, I mean, you know what, I have gone to Sephora and I've spent the like $100 there, and the sad thing is, the last experience that I had with purchasing a couple of items from Sephora was that I spent a whole bunch of money and then got home, and that was the time where I finally committed to spending and buying this ridiculous like, what, Better Than Sex, like Too Faced mascara. I ended up committing. I bought the mascara. I got it home, and the second that I opened the tube, if you could believe, the mascara was completely dried out. I was so infuriated that I ended up going back. I took all the products that I bought that day and I went back to Sephora the next day and returned it all because I was so pissed. I had spent over $100 on a bunch of product, and the first thing that I opened is completely dried out, and there was no product on the brush. I remember like lightly like putting the brush up against my hand to see if anything was coming off. There was literally nothing, and it was a $25 mascara, which I thought that was absolutely insane, and there was basically next to no freaking product on the brush or in the tube. So luckily, again, they were kind enough to just refund me everything, and they didn't really ask any questions. I mentioned to them that the mascara was completely dried out and there was nothing inside of it, and the rest of it I kind of just decided against because I didn't want it anymore. And they were incredibly like accommodating. They didn't really ask, they didn't really care. They just double checked that everything was properly closed and went from there, and then returned and refunded me my money, which was really great. And it was nice to get to that point where it was just like, this was a mistake, give me back my money. And they didn't really ask any questions beyond that. So I mean, I do have to say, again, their return policy is pretty redeeming, and like they have like the one or two products that I'm a huge fan of, but beyond that, like I despise going into that store because I feel like the customer service is lacking so much, and it's so unfortunate. So yeah, that's my stance on Sephora. I'm gonna get my last lash on and then we'll be done. I think we'll be done. We'll just about be done. So I'm just gonna place this guy, make sure he's in and on. But yeah, I mean, I've gone to MAC and I've had some pretty crap experiences there. But I've also, like, and that was years ago, so I can't speak to the experiences. I had a really positive experience the last time I went in. Actually, the second last time I went in, because I wasn't going for any product. I was walking around the mall and I realized that my eyelash was actually coming off and I hadn't glued it down properly. So the sad thing is, because of that, I like was desperate that I was just gonna go to either like the MAC or the Sephora, and I walked into the MAC and went up to a makeup artist. I'm like, could you please help me? I'm having an emergency. And he was kind enough to glue down my lash, and it literally, like, it took him 2 seconds. He didn't charge me for it. He was really nice about it, and it was very, like, it was a really sweet experience. Where the last time I went to MAC to go get my free lipstick, the chicks that were there were really rude and like just didn't care that I was interested in buying a MAC or was interested in getting a lipstick. And I mean, I guess at the end of the day, I'm not spending any money, and they're like losing money on me and they're not really gaining any money. So I guess like from that aspect, I get it, but they were kind of cold and kind of rude, just a little bit. But yeah, so I got the lashes on. No fuss, no muss. I mean, I have been putting on fake eyelashes for many, many years. That's why it's pretty easy for me to just get them on and keep going. I have them on. This one, I'm just waiting for it to dry just a little bit more before I put on some mascara, because I feel like the second I do like one brush, it's gonna come right off. But basically, this is my look. I don't do a crazy amount more. Maybe some of you consider like this is a lot already. I mean, overall, it's been quite a handful of products that I put on my face. I used to do this almost every single day. I don't do this anymore because I just don't have the time for it. But overall, like, I feel like this look, it makes me feel glammed. It makes me feel like I'm really, you know, I've got a full face of makeup on. It makes me feel very like girly, and I feel like there is a particular look that I achieve when I put on this amount of makeup or this style of makeup. I'm a fan of it. I like it. I like eyelashes. I like having a little bit of a darker eye. It kind of helps define my eyes and pop them out a little bit. And I really like the contour and the overall like lightness of my skin. I have grown to love the fact that I'm pale, and it is what it is. I mean, granted, this summer, because I have had some health issues where I haven't been able to work out and I have been in pain consistently for the last 3 months of my life, and it's really sucked and it's been really unfortunate, and I've gained weight, I've lost a lot of muscle. I don't look the way that I expected to look this summer, and not, you know, shit happens and health things are more important than having abs, unfortunately. But this summer, because I haven't necessarily had the opportunity to work out consistently the way I've wanted to, I've just kind of admitted defeat and decided to go down the beauty route of experimenting more and more, whether it's the eyelash extensions, whether it's the hair. I have considered getting a spray tan. I don't know how I feel about it. Maybe I'll poll you guys and we can see a before and after, maybe do a review of the experience and maybe of the products that are used, and just to see how the whole experience goes. But overall, like, I definitely do want to do some more beauty videos, not because I feel like I'm a beauty guru, but just because I'm a genuine first timer experiencing these things and wanting to give you guys honest feedback. And that was the whole point of my YouTube channel, and the whole reason I started this YouTube channel was to do honest reviews, where I wasn't just being paid by a company to review a product, but to give a genuine, honest review and give products, really put them through their paces. And especially with a lot of the technical products that I have and that I use, because I do need them to perform with me during my races, or, you know, depending on whatever race I'm doing, I need them to perform. And if they're not performing, it's gonna hurt me, or it's gonna end up hurting my time. So I definitely have been one of those people that refuses to, you know, sell my soul, in the sense that, like, I refuse to get paid by a company to give a positive review if it's not a positive experience. It's just not who I am. I wouldn't, and really it's all based off the fact that I wouldn't want that done to me. I don't want to be lied to. If I go into a store and need to buy a product that I don't have a lot of experience in, or I don't have the time to do the research for everything, I want to go in and be told an honest perspective and an honest review. That's what sales associates are. They're giving you honest reviews, and hopefully honest reviews. So that's the way I've always looked at my review videos and me reviewing products. That's the way I look at it, and that's my philosophy. If I don't want it done to me, I wouldn't want to do it to somebody else. So that's just where I stand on that. Now, I kind of glazed over the fact that I put on my mascara, and yes, the sun is setting. I swear to God, we're done, I swear. This mascara I've found recently, it is the Maybelline Snap Mascara, or Snapscara. I came across it in an ad. I saw it on an ad and totally sold me on YouTube, and I've been buying it since. It's pretty good. I had, for years in high school and after high school, I used a Revlon mascara that was in a green tube, and it was a growth serum mascara. I used that faithfully for years, and then for some reason one year they just discontinued it, which was heartbreaking because I needed to find a replacement, and it's taken me a really long time to find a really great replacement, and so far this one's done a pretty good job of holding the test of time and being pretty like a pretty reliable mascara. This mascara, I believe, is, what is it? I bought it on sale, so it was $7.96. That is what I spent at Walmart for this mascara. I'm sure you could probably get, or maybe I bought it on sale. I don't even know if it was on sale or if that was regular price, but you could probably get it for cheaper, or it's probably double the price at Shoppers. So again, if you are looking to buy inexpensive makeup or anything, I would highly recommend checking out your local Walmart first, because you're probably going to find what you need there, rather than buying it at your local drug mart, which is probably going to be a much more expensive price, unfortunately. So that is it. I think I'm going to stop talking now. I think I've talked enough for about 2 hours. This is easily the longest podcast that I've done and the longest video I've ever done. I hope you guys have enjoyed. This is what a full face of makeup consists for me, and it's kind of how I feel about beauty. I mean, overall, I think beauty at the end of the day, whether it's your beauty routine, whether it's makeup, whatever you choose to do, I feel like you should never feel pressured to do anything. You should just want to do it because you want to. You shouldn't feel pressured to do it every single day because you feel like you have to achieve a certain look that's unrealistic. Especially if you're going to high school, you shouldn't have to be waking up 2 hours or an hour before you actually have to go to class or get to class to do any of this. Like, you really don't need it. You don't. I feel like it's crazy to me to see really young girls and really young kids feeling the pressure to need to do this. I mean, even as an adult, it feels funny to have to put on all this makeup, and I've come to terms and come to a place in my life currently where I don't feel like I have to. It's something that I enjoy doing. It's not a need. It's not because I feel pressured. It's because I want to do it. And I think that's what's really important for me, and for me to convey to all of you and all my viewers and all of my followers, is that, you know, I'm a real person. And at the end of the day, I'm not interested in photoshopping my waist or my arms or my legs to achieve some sort of a look, because to me that's unrealistic, and I will not sell some version of myself that doesn't actually exist. Underneath all of this, I am still the same person, and I will never choose the girl that gets to run and roll around in mud and be tough and very much have the dreams of joining the military and using a gun and being very bro-y or loving very masculine things. I'm not going to ever give that girl up so I can wear eyeliner and mascara and fake eyelashes and heels. I am very much both people. I am a mix of both people. I am very much the girl that will listen to Joe Rogan, drink whiskey, will swear my head off, and like supposedly masculine things, but I am also very much the girl that will wear sparkly jewelry and will wear glitter and will wear mascara and eyelashes and stilettos and tight dresses and lingerie, and who will get my hair done and who will do my nails. I will never give up both sides of that person, because that is just who I am, and that's just something I believe in. I don't feel like I have to give up any part of myself just because I want to wear makeup or just because I want to go run a race. I don't feel like I have to give up one person or the other. I feel like both of those people are the same person. So I hope that some of you get anything out of this podcast, whether it's products that you found interesting or intriguing, or the process, or if you want to yell at me for doing something wrong or using some weird technique or doing something wrong. I will take advice. I'm open to advice or trying new things. Or if you want to suggest products to me, I'm totally down to try new things. Always, whether it's beauty, whether it's tech, whatever it is, I'm down to try it out. I definitely am interested in possibly doing some sort of a car series, so that might be coming up soon. I think I might be finding some time this weekend to maybe do it. I don't know. Hopefully with the long weekend I will find some time to get a video out. But if not, thank you guys so much for watching again and listening. I highly appreciate it. This is something, again, that I'm enjoying doing. It's not something that I feel like I have to do, but it's something that I really like doing. I do hope that at some point or another I will get somebody on here to talk with me, whatever it is. I think there are a few people I want to ask to come and chat with me, and we'll see what happens. So that is something to look forward to. If you guys, as always, have any suggestions or things you want to see or hear, you can always reach me at my Instagram handles, which are Carolyn_W3 or That Blonde Girls Podcast or Reviews by the Blonde. All three profiles are my profiles. You can reach me at any of those three. If you do privately message me, I don't necessarily get the notifications for that all the time, or I don't necessarily see them, so just don't be personally offended. Also, the best way to reach me is through YouTube. If you want to reach me through the comment section down below, through the videos of this podcast, have at it. I generally tend to see those notifications first before I see anything else. But beyond that, again, thank you for hanging out with me tonight, and I hope all of you have a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys next week. Adios!